everyone, and welcome to our Community Engagement Virtual Workshop Series. My name is Natural Love, and I'm the Assistant Director for Community Engagement with the Office for Community and Civic Engagement at UNC Pembroke. Today, I'm via WebEx with Lucas Martinez Jr. for our Community Engagement Virtual Workshop Series. This series was designed to emphasize the community partner and student relationship by providing networking opportunities and collaboratively engaging in strengths-based efforts to further support community partnership and UNCP student volunteers. So during today's workshop, be prepared to hear from Mr. Lucas Martinez Jr. about community engagement and volunteer efforts that they have taken at the Care Resource Center, which is UNCP's on-campus food pantry and professional clothing closet. Lucas, he will provide insight about the Care Resource Center, not only an overview of who they are, but also how they utilize volunteers, UNCP Serve, and then their response to COVID-19. Lucas, thank you for joining us this afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Natural.
Thank you so much.
Excited.
Yes, thank you so much. And hello to our participant again. I just wanted to let you all know, as again, this will be recorded, so just be prepared. All right, Lucas, so I know we had to change some things up last minute, and we're going to move forward with an interview style, which I'm very excited about. I had an interview earlier with a community partner, and it was outstanding. So I'm just going to go on with a series of questions, and you provide insight as you feel freely to do so.
Right. Okay.
All right, Lucas, so first, I guess, introduce yourself. Who is Lucas Martinez Jr.?
Well, hey, everyone. I am the AmeriCorps Vista for the Office for Community and Civic Engagement, and in my position, I oversee the operations of the Care Resource Center on campus. Just as Natural mentioned, we are considered a nonprofit, so we basically operate as if we were a community partner with our office. I am an MBA candidate here at UNCP. I received my undergraduate in business administration in May of 2019. Yeah, 2019. I'm very excited to be here today. I have really enjoyed this position for the last year, working with Natural and the whole office, just to expand the Care Resource Center and everything that it offers.
Thank you so much, Lucas. The feeling is mutual. We have all enjoyed having you a part of the team. So Lucas, can you start off by just telling us, how did you get involved in nonprofit work?
So volunteering has always been a really important aspect of my life. When I was growing up, my grandma always ensured that we volunteered, and even now as when I was a college student, it was something that was very close to me. I actually joined the Pledge program hosted by Dalton Hoffer in my freshman year. As a commuter student, it was really imperative for me because it made sure that I got involved. So really, I started off volunteering, really enjoyed it. Started volunteering with Care Resource Center when Natural was there. And with UNCP Votes and the various initiatives around campus, I was very fortunate to be hired by the Care Resource Center. I stayed there for a couple months before being promoted to the student manager, and now I was transitioned into the AmeriCorps Vista.
Awesome. It sounds like you have a lot of experience one. And for those who are listening or watching, Lucas and I, we've known each other for quite some time now. As Lucas mentioned, I met Lucas when I was the student manager at our Care Resource Center on campus. And as soon as I graduated, Lucas went full-fledged in to overtake and oversee the Care Resource Center, and he's done an outstanding job just managing his team and working with volunteers and just getting others aware and educated about the Care Resource Center and the issues that they're meant to address or to move forward to solve. So Lucas, can you share with us, what do you find most important about nonprofit work?
The most important thing is addressing a need in your community. But the one thing that I find most enjoyable is the relationships and community partners that you build in the process. I feel like it's very imperative to make sure that you create these relationships that are long-lasting and standing with the organization and community members or students or volunteers, because they really are what hold your organization up. They're the ones that provide your resources when you need it. And really, for our history, they're the ones that are always advocating, always giving us donations, always making sure that as an organization, we are prepared for whatever we need and whatever may happen.
Absolutely. So it sounds like just the experience that you gain, not only meaningful relationships, but also chances to collaborate or to kind of step out of your own comfort zone. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Now, Lucas, what issues, I guess, are those that you all address at the Care Resource Center?
So our first and foremost is obviously hunger. So we serve students, faculty, staff, and community members on our in the Pembroke area. Um, but we also have also have a homeless aspect, which sounds kind of bad for me to say it like that. But we have an emergency housing program for students that we operate through our office as well. Um, but we just try to make sure that alongside um, our food pantry and all that, we try to educate people. So we also do a lot of programming that focus on um, bringing light to the issue that Robeson County faces. But first and foremost, we do serve our students and the needs that they may have. So we are a food pantry. We have a professional clothing closet and some miscellaneous cleaning supplies or hygiene supplies as we do.
I can definitely say the Care Resource Center, many of you all, if you're not familiar with the Care Resource Center, it's located on campus, Woodlands Hall Suite C, right? Lucas?
Yes.
And I guess just from my time there as a student, both in undergrad and graduate school, it really has grown. As I mentioned, Lucas, he really has done an outstanding job, and you'll hear me all chime in and say that throughout this portion of the workshop. Just from seeing how it was when I was there to now, it's just been a joy just to see and just knowing that we as an office, as a team, are moving forward to continue addressing issues that might affect our college campus and our community. So, Lucas, how would you say you mobilize volunteers around your organization's mission?
Well, like I mentioned before, volunteers are a vital aspect to our organization. We have so much work that we try to do with such a small team. So we are student led, and primarily our students are the ones who do our food recovery and our composting or whatever we may be into. But we rely on students heavily for aspects such as programming as well. We make sure that students are well informed of the work we do, the things we try to address, and how we address it. Some students actually come to us just to help us with programming. For instance, we had this one student last semester who wanted to do a fundraiser for us, and she was very helpful with our pocket change for change because she would just go up to people and ask them for money, whereas we were a little bit more scared. So we rely on students to do stuff sometimes that we wouldn't do, or rely on students to bring skills that our team already doesn't have. So
It sounds like volunteers that really are a big component to the Care Resource Center and Knowledge Lab. And I know for you all listening or watching, Lucas is going to just share some more information about volunteers and how they are crucially vital to what they do. And I will get to those as we go throughout our questions. So Lucas, how do you all utilize volunteers, or what are some of the specific projects that they might work on while at the Care Center?
So I can only talk about the experiences that I've had when I was there. Starting February of 2019, we started doing food recovery from Walmart of Pembroke, and that is honestly, it's a huge task. So we rely on volunteers heavily whenever they're available and come to help. They help us composting, which is a really gruesome job, but it's part of the job. They help us with programming, like I mentioned before. We create programming just to have students involved. But most of all, they really help us get our word out there. So most of the time when we ask students how they heard about us, it's from another student. And just when we have events and all, we're really grateful to have the people show up and support us.
And I know earlier, Lucas, you mentioned, I want to say it was your Pocket Change for Change. Can you share a little bit more about what that initiative was?
So we are a smaller organization, so we don't go for like a lot of huge grants like other organizations do. So we focus on more like grassroots or like smaller funding opportunities. And one of these was Pocket Change for Change, and we basically just asked people to donate the change in their pocket to the Care Resource Center. We did this for probably about a month, and I think we raised $320 from this. And this was mostly due to the wonderful volunteers that we had, like I said, the fearless ones, because I wouldn't go out there and ask people for money like some of them would. Um, But alongside that, they also help with stuff like our hunger banquets, our Hungry Museum, or just programming that we do around campus in general.
It sounds like just on the outside looking in, as I heard about the program, and just kind of helped you prep in so many ways for it. I think the outcome was great. I always say if it's more than $1 or what we had before, then we're doing awesome. And you all raising over $300 is pretty impactful. And I know, Lucas, as we talk about volunteers and as we talk about their role at the Care Resource Center, what tools or what do you all utilize to recruit volunteers or to manage them? What is that tool that you all might use for that?
So our largest and most helpful thing is UNCP Serve. I know it is provided by our office, but it actually is a lifesaver, and I wish more organizations were aware of all the aspects that it has to it. So first and foremost, we use it to post our opportunities. Students can go on there through their personal accounts and respond to any opportunities that we have, any events, any volunteer aspects. They can go on there. They can contact us through it. So it's a really, really great platform. After they normally contact us, we use UNCP Serve to track hours. They can get their volunteer resume from it. Then we use it to check them in. So really, it's just an all-around tool for us because it takes a lot of the work out of it for our clerical aspects. Our students don't have to track volunteers. Really, we can just go on there for the past year and pull the names that we need or who volunteered the most or what have you.
So, I mean, sounds like for you all as a community partner, UNCP Serve really has been a very helpful tool.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That's great news to hear. And as you mentioned too, Lucas, my hope also is that we have other community partners who, if they may not know about this as a resource, utilize it, contact us. It is free and it's serve.uncp.edu. That's the link, but the process to set up partnership or to set up opportunities, events, everything that Lucas has mentioned so far is extremely easy, I guess, once you start learning how to navigate it. But our office, we're always there to help you along the way. So Lucas, can you tell us a little bit about, I know you mentioned you all have volunteers, they're crucial, they're vital, you all utilize UNCP Serve, but what would you say to the volunteers who are first time, who may have never been to the Care Resource Center before? Do you all have a process for them?
Yeah, so we get a lot of our first time volunteers at the Care Resource Center for various reasons. Some of them need hours for a class. Some of them just want to give back to their community, and some of them just want to see what we do. But first and foremost, like I said, we try to make sure that our volunteers are aware of why we do what we do and how we address it. So our first-time volunteers undergo a orientation. And in this orientation, we introduce the history of care. So we go through when we were founded, why we were founded, and how it's changed over time. So when we introduce food recovery and composting and who we work with, what community partners. And then we just teach them what to expect. So one of our huge things that we always talk about is confidentiality. We try to create a culture within our within the Care Resource Center that is judgmental free, and people can feel free to come in there, especially if they need the resources that we offer. So just preparing students for the first time about what they'll be doing, how they'll be doing it, and really who they can talk to if they have any questions.
And would you say you all have a formalized process or a process similar for just any volunteers? Like, are all volunteers required to go through your volunteer training or orientation?
Yeah, so all volunteers are required to go through the orientation. Sometimes just depending on how many hours they need, they might need to go through something more in-depth. So like people who normally do like 40 hours plus, we'll normally teach them more to people who need 5 hours just because of investment. But in general, all of our volunteers complete a volunteer application, and it basically just takes in basic information, if they got in an accident or if something happened, who would we contact? And then we also, once they commit to volunteering with us, we just sign a contract, and basically it just states what both parties can expect, like what they can expect from us and what we can expect from them. And it also gives an opportunity to tell us, hey, this is the day I plan on coming in. You can count on me then, or we just tell them that if that isn't possible for them, just to show up whenever we're open.
Can you tell us a little bit, Lucas, about, I guess just to expand on your previous response, and thank you for that. Just what are some of the projects or some of the tasks that you all might have outlined for your volunteers at the Care Center?
So typically we don't always allow volunteers to work directly with the patrons, just because we want to keep that relationship with our patrons. Like we actually have someone sponsored through AARP who does a lot of our did a lot of our intake processes, and all the students loved her. So we wanted to keep that relationship between the students and her there. So a lot of our volunteers undertake the manual labor and the programming aspect. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, volunteers normally do food recovery. Other days, they're probably composting or doing pantry reorganization. And then if we have any programs going on, they're probably making signs or doing some advertising for us. So we really do use them in the best manner that we can. If volunteers show that they have a skill set, like I guess videography or social media, we let them take that on as well if they are willing. So just trying to use them the best way we can.
And I hold on to what you just said, Lucas, about utilizing students for like things that they're good at or things that they're majoring in. So if you all do have some students who are majoring in like marketing, how you all might utilize them in a way to help create some publications or some marketing strategies for the Care Resource Center, which I think too is often important when we think about community partners as a whole. Thinking about our students and the skill sets that they have prior to coming to college, and then once they're in college, what they're majoring in. So for me, I think about just a social work intern, a master's of social work intern who's working alongside me this semester, and how this student, having her work on different things that are related to social work. So her main interest is healthcare. So maybe having her come up with like a community needs assessment, or working with healthcare organizations to have like a healthcare fair, or things that align with what she'll actually do, like once she graduates. So I appreciate you all for that. I knew that, but I also didn't know that that's, other ways or other means or avenues that you all are really connecting with your volunteers. And I'm sure that they're also appreciative of that, because it's more than an experience where they might do manual labor. They also get a chance to develop new skills, whether it's networking or talking with others, just maybe diverse groups of people. So that's something I really appreciate about the work that you all are doing.
Thank you.
Now, Lucas, of course, with COVID-19 and the effects that it's had on our nation, on our campus, what are some ways the Care Resource Center has responded?
So initially, the Care Resource Center shut down with the rest of the campus. We got special provisions to open back because obviously we are a vital resource to our students, faculty, staff, and community. We have an amazing team led by Deborah Gonzalez, who couldn't be here today, unfortunately. They've really taken it and ran with it, just in terms of like applying CDC recommended guidelines, like 6 feet apart, recommended that they may wear a mask. All of our student staff wear masks and gloves anytime that they're in the building interacting with patrons. They mop the floor twice a day, even though they're open for 4 hours. So they're really doing a great job down there, and just making sure that our patrons are kept safe. In addition, we just have certain policies that we've implemented. So like we don't allow donations of clothes anymore, just because we don't want that extra risk, just in case, trying to limit the contact between our staff and various donors and stuff. Other than that, we've just been in compliance with the university, just following all the recommendations we can, just to ensure that our patrons are safe during this time.
Sounds like you all are taking those necessary precautions, and the fact that you're still going strong. Are you all still seeing patrons? Like, do you get a good amount of patrons to come in usually, or has it dimmed down since the virus?
So it's slowly going up. We're hoping that this is because of word of mouth, but we plan on doing some more marketing. We do allow community members at this time. So under special provisions, they're allowed to come in and get what they're allowed, and no questions asked. Normally we host a adult literacy program that they have to go to in order to get a voucher, but we don't do that right now just because of circumstances. we're hoping that it goes up. We really try to reduce our waste. And if we don't have a certain amount of patrons, we end up throwing a lot of stuff away. So we're trying to get as many as we can with the resources we have.
Expand Lucas more on Brave Foundations.
So Brave Foundations is an adult literacy program hosted through the Office for Community and Civic Engagement. And the Care Resource Center partnered with them in fall 2018, fall of 2018, because we noticed that we had such an influx of community members that really took away the resources from the students, which we primarily try to serve. So instead of closing our door to community members, what we did was implement a program where we can hopefully increase their self-sufficiency. So it focuses on topics such as financial literacy and life and wellness and career readiness, just giving them necessary skills and just hopefully, like I said, increasing their sense of agency. Over time, we've had probably about 31 different participants. Some of them really took the ground with it. Some of them really enjoyed it. So we hope to continue that relationship with our community members and with the Care Resource Center to ensure that they still have access to the vital resources they need while hopefully gaining something out of it and not us, doing what we did in the past. So.
And I had a session or a workshop earlier, or an interview earlier, community partner spotlight interview earlier with community partner Asa Rebels. She works out here at UNCP, but she also manages, oversees, or works with 2 local organizations in the area. And that's the main conversation we were talking about earlier. When it comes to, what are we all doing? Like, how can we all support each other? What support services are available? And I feel and I find that being from Robinson County, born and bred, like, this is something that is definitely needed because I find that, especially some of our older adults, how much things may have changed, as time has gone on. I think of my grandmother now, and maybe she's not as aware of when it comes to preparing for a hurricane, or maybe when it comes to writing out her own budget. Maybe she is, but in my mind, maybe she's not. Maybe she just used to saying, hey, let me go to the store, grab what I need. This is how much I have when I get back. So I really think that is also a great program that you all are doing, just to better the community, and then just thinking about holistically who Robinson County is, and then like how can you all, being one entity, help those who are around you. So kudos to you on that initiative and on that effort. And Lucas, can you share with us what would you say is the greatest support that the Care Resource Center could get or receive from someone right now? Whether it's volunteer opportunities or internships, what would be that greatest support that you all could ask for right now?
Greatest support for us right now is really just spreading what we do and hopefully bringing in like donations for us. We actually go through quite a bit of food. And even though our numbers are down, we want to make sure that we still have the resources to serve as many people as possible. In addition, we're looking for volunteers. So we're actually working on a program called Care Ambassadors, which are volunteers that would dedicate over 40 hours a semester to the Care Resource Center. And our hopes is that these individuals can work on areas of programming and fundraising and stuff, just to make the work that we do go further for the students, faculty, staff, and community members that we serve.
That sounds like a great program. And I guess even thinking about care ambassadors, or just any student or anyone who's interested in volunteering, how can they get involved with you all? Is it the initial, hey, calling Lucas over the phone or Deb over the phone? Like, how is that contact for you all?
So students can contact us through UNCP Serve. We still have volunteer coordinators down there making sure that volunteers have access to us. We've just changed our policies a little bit because of COVID. So of course, if volunteers are feeling sick, we ask them not to come in, or if they feel like they've been exposed, not to come in as well. If they're not a student or have access to UNCP Serve, they can always contact the center at 910-775-4367 and talk to one of our wonderful Care Resource Center staff members. And then lastly, they can just go in and say, hey, I want to help, and we'll find them something to do. So.
sound like there's a lot for anyone who goes to volunteer at the care center.
Especially right time. Yeah.
Lucas, can you share with us what would you say are some recommendations or maybe some key steps for someone or student or whoever's listening or watching that would like to start a program very similar or nonprofit or a food pantry?
Right. So I think the first thing I would share is definitely know who your clientele are, the people that you're trying to serve, because it really does influence the way that you operate your nonprofit or food pantry or whatever you may have. Because over time it will change, but your community or the people that you serve won't. They really are the strongest part of your organization. A lot of times as students take stuff from us, they bring it back as well. So like we have a lot of people who's very committed to ensuring that even though they might need us as a resource, that they can still give back as much as they can. Outside of that, I would just say like focus on building community partnerships. Focus on what your organization needs and what other organizations may have. So just recently, for example, we partnership with Sodexo, and not only do we gather all their waste to be given out again to students, it's just an awesome relationship to have because, over time we build these relationships that will lead into more. So like Growing Change, at first we just volunteered with them, and now they were the people that we composted with. So just understand these community partners and how they can be beneficial to you.
It's so interesting. UNASA, you all are thinking alike today because she said the exact thing in the exact order that you do when it comes to really knowing your audience or who you're connecting with first. And then also just knowing your community. I think community, as you know, Lucas, I know maybe even Jalen who's joining us, community, especially in Robinson County, is what I first think of. When I think of our area, when I think of UNCP, my mind automatically goes to. So I find that with the work that you all are doing, the work that our office is doing, and all the other offices on campus in the community, that everyone just doing things just to better our area. And then I know also just thinking about, well, how can we all come together? I know I shared this example on my previous workshop, but back to the community engagement symposium that we had in December of last year. For those who are listening or who are watching, that was an initiative that our office had with Southeastern Family Violence Center. Our office, we hosted a community engagement symposium where we brought many community leaders to the table to talk about the issues that are affecting our area, affecting our county. And from that, the conversation was during one of our debriefing sessions. We want more community efforts. We want more networking opportunities. We want more opportunities to engage with each other. And I remember one specific example from one of the attendees. She said, we all are doing the same thing. So if you think about it, whether it's a clothing closet, we have one. There's one in maybe every church. There's one on every corner. Like they're there. But why are we all doing this separately? Why can't we all come together to be, if not one entity, small separate ones or subcommittees in some form, just to talk about or to create awareness, to do programs. So I think, Lucas, again, I give kudos to you all because I think you all are about collaboration. You all have, just thinking of many of the past experiences that I had, whether it was with housing and residence life, whether it was any campus clubs or other organizations, like the things that you all have done just to create those meaningful collaborations, I think create that effective and meaningful partnership. And I, again, appreciate you all just for your collaborations, even with me in my new role as Assistant Director for Community Engagement. Though the Care Resource Center does fall within our office, I think I always enjoy talking to you, Lucas, about what you all do, because you give me great ideas and then allow me to think about, okay, well, maybe let me consider partnership this way, or even letting you all be some of my first folks to just try some of the things that I'm thinking. So again, I appreciate you all and the work that you're doing at the Care Resource Center. So Lucas, can you tell us a little bit about what are your overall goals for the Care Resource Center? What is your 5-year, I don't know, 10-year plan?
Gosh, so I guess just primarily is to increase the amount of people we can help. When we closed our doors to community in 2018, it was a really hard decision. because we know that our local community is in need. And we always try to address it, but without the resources, we couldn't do so. So we hope that over time, as our resources and volunteer base and everything grows, that we have the opportunity to reopen our doors to community members. And then we just hope to eventually find a new space, grow, and give people the opportunity to develop skills and learn. Because we rely on students really heavily, on both student workers and volunteers, and we want the Care Resource Center to be a place where they can understand what is expected of them in the future, grow skills for jobs in the future, or whatever else.
Absolutely, giving them the soft skills and any skills that can be adaptable once they graduate. And I think that is so important. Even I know for you, Lucas, for you, Jalen, for myself, just thinking about my experience in my undergraduate and graduate program, I was really mindful in the organizations that I sought out. Oftentimes, it was the Care Resource Center on campus. But thinking about, which volunteer opportunities I did want to be a part of, because I just didn't want to be a volunteer. I wanted to be beyond that, and hashtag our logo or our slogan, beyond a volunteer. But thinking about how can I do more? As a social work major, what skills or what is some additional experience that I can have under my belt that once I graduate, that employers would say, hey, this is unique, or hey, we want to give you the job just for having this specific thing on your application. So I'm all for giving those opportunities for growth, personal, professional. And I think even once someone just goes to the Care Resource Center and has their first interaction with the patron, I feel and so that even in itself is a sense of growth or a new skill that they develop that maybe someone didn't think that they had or could do. So I'm going to open the floor, Lucas, if you don't have, I don't have any more questions at this time, but I am going to open the floor. I know we have one participant, Jalen. Hello again. If you would like to ask any questions, or if there's anything that you want to know more about the Care Resource Center, about Lucas, now is the time. You can feel free to put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you have anything you want to know or to add. So I just want to share Jalen's comment. She said she doesn't have any questions right now, but she just said great job. So I say great job to you, Lucas, just for one, being on this conversation with me. I know this is one of the first of many virtual opportunities that our office plans to offer. So thank you just for jumping in there as soon as I asked about it and saying, hey, Natural, yes, what do you need me to do? And I will open it to you, Lucas. Is there anything else that you would like to share, or any lasting thoughts that you want to leave our viewers or our listeners?
I just think a large thing that drives us and makes us do this work is a passion and an understanding for people. I don't think I would ever be in this position if I didn't care about the people that I serve. Just like many of our volunteers, many of our community partners and donors, we just have a genuine care for people. And it's really important right now more than ever to have that care for people while they are unfortunately, losing jobs or undergoing medical stress, So this is a difficult time for various reasons. And I just hope that community partners, people of influence can come together and just understand that now more than ever, we need a support system. So.
It brings me back to the conversation from earlier, really talking about support and what that looks like, because I oftentimes feel that that support piece gets left out, or it's a gap that can happen. And I'm not saying this to be close-minded, but just saying this with my knowledge of just what I've been doing for so long, whether it was a care center or doing some community work, even my time in mental health work, just thinking about that sense of support, because I find that not only is it our community who needs it, but I also think us as professionals do. Of course, COVID-19 has been a challenging time for us all, but I do think that once COVID surpasses, then that's definitely going to be our time just to rebuild and just to say, hey, we've overcome this, now what? now where is the celebration? Because we as a community came together to offer, whether it was volunteer opportunities or efforts, just to support the community as a whole.
Right.
So once again, Lucas, I thank you so much, just for being a part of this conversation with me today. I think it was really insightful, very meaningful, and just hearing you talk, I can truly hear the passion in your voice and the appreciation for the work that you do. Again, you all at the Care Resource Center, you're doing an amazing job. Deb, I know she couldn't be with us today, but she's doing an amazing job at the Care Resource Center. Your entire team, just on the outside looking in and getting chances to interact with them on various bases. You all really are heading this program, and you're going to continue to flourish as you all grow and just move forward with all that you're doing. So for the listeners or viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening to insights or hearing insights from Mr. Lucas Martinez Jr. You can check out any other virtual opportunities that our office is offering. They're going to be on our UNCP webpage, and that can be found at uncp.edu on our Community and Civic Engagement page. We have a section for community engagement virtual workshops. We also have Snacks and Social Justice series that we're going to air. We do every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. So check that out. Check out serve.uncp.edu for any volunteer opportunities, because there are a few partners, community partners, that are offering some virtual opportunities for students, maybe even for faculty, staff, and community. So thank you again, Lucas. Thank you, Jalen, for tuning in today, and we hope to see you all next time.